Browns and Eagles tie at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, where Mary Kay is right now. But we have to start with where we started last week. Here we go again. Mary Kay, it was very positive for Cade York right up until he had a chance to give the Browns the lead late in the game. He missed a kick. There was a flag. And then 5 yards closer, he missed the next kick. So here we are, about a week after the Washington game, when we were asking, do the Browns need to bring in some competition for Cade York? And we are asking the same question. What did you kind of gather after the game when you heard from Kevin Stefanski and also from Cade York?
Well, Kevin actually did seem to be a little bit dismayed about the way that ended. Of course, he would be, but at the same time, he has to express confidence in his kicker. So, of course, one of the first things I asked him, do you still feel okay about not bringing in any competition for Cade? And he said, I do. But, they have to at least be thinking of it. This was pretty incredible for him to go 3 for 3. He was, like I just had written, he was in the midst of a perfect kicking night until he wasn't. And to stand up there and miss both potential game-winning kicks, it is a concern. And they don't want to give up on him too early, like the Vikings did with Daniel Carlson in his rookie year in Minnesota in 2018. But by the same token, you've got a strong start coming up. You don't have time for a slump. You've got 3 AFC North games coming up in your first 4 weeks of the season. So he better get out of this slump in a hurry.
Ashley, again, here we are. Just it's Cade York. He has been the topic of preseason, and Mary Kay kind of hit it there. You can't go into this first month of the season and not be sure about your kicker. And I'm not certain how anyone can be sure about this kicker right now.
Yeah, that's what's tough. And it's like, honestly, to me, it's like, even if he did make all of them, it's like, how can you be sure given the recent issues, given a lot of the issues last year? Like, I've been kind of harping on the not getting too high on anything good he does in the preseason or in practices, like for this reason, because he did have such a good preseason last year too. And I said it last week, and like, I think I still kind of think it, like, is it a mistake for them not to have brought in some competition for him? Or just if they aren't considering that, is it a mistake to not do that? And I'm leaning each time something like this happens towards maybe that competition would be beneficial for him and help him. Like, the bottom line is, I think you have to try something different because at the very least, it's like bad optics and bad for him mentally to kind of keep stacking these misses in these key scenarios. It's like, I don't see how any of that's helping him.
Mary Kay, he misses from 46, and then he moves forward and misses from 41 after the penalty negated the 46-yard miss. I told Ashley before we started recording this video, I audibly gasped when he missed the 41-yard kick. I was so surprised that it happened again. Did you sense any sort of shake from Kevin Stefanski when he was asked about Cade York? Any sort of hesitation or anything like that when he still kind of backed Cade York and still sort of struck a similar tone to what he did last week?
Kevin is unflappable and he does not show his emotions. But, I think we all know him well enough now to know when he, feels a certain kind of way about something. And there's no way that you can feel really good about walking out of here without Cade York with him missing at least that 41-yard game-winning kick. The 47, okay, it's 47, maybe you can forgive that a little bit, but not when you get a second chance at it and you miss the 41-yarder. There's starting to be no excuse for these now. He said he overcompensated for that one, and instead of pushing it wide right, it, kind of went slightly wide left. His foot may have slipped. At least, Cade York did talk after the game this time, whereas last week after the Commanders game, he did not want to talk. And I do understand that. I mean, you don't want to talk too much about your misses because you don't want them to get in your head. You don't want it to become a thing where you are overthinking it. You just want to stand up there. You want to walk up and you want to boot the ball the way you have been doing for many, many, many years of your life. You don't want to get into this overly cerebral and overly tinkering kind of thing. So I do understand that, but it would be hard to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns and not be a little bit worried about that right now.
And Ashley, the overcompensating thing is, I don't know, to me, I'm not a kicking coach. That feels a little bit worrisome if he missed the second kick because he was overcompensating. That feels like maybe he is overthinking things just a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, and it also like I'll be curious to see if that's still what he thinks like after they go over the film and everything. And like Mary Kay said, if there's possibility his plant foot slipped and if that contributed to it. But the overcompensation thing, especially because these misses this preseason, the pattern has been they've all been wide right before that one, and you saw it in real time, turn the other way. So it is interesting, like that mental aspect of, was it starting to get to him that, okay, these other two I missed in the last two preseason games also went wide right. So now I'm going to try to fix that. And in the heat of the moment, he goes too far. So I'll be curious to see if that remains kind of the common thread here, if he talks about this missed kick or these missed kicks in the future.
Okay, let's wrap up the video by let's say something nice about the Browns. Everybody can kind of say something good, a player who stood out to them here in this third preseason game in Philadelphia. Mary Kay, why don't you go first?
I'm going to go with Austin Watkins. I mean, he was tremendous. We talked to him a little bit after the game as well. And that touchdown catch, the 32-yard touchdown catch, that was a nice contested catch. He split two defenders on that. And he really caught a nice ball there, had over 100 yards, and he really caught everything. I think he made a strong case for himself to make the team. And I think the fact that there are some injured wide receivers on this team right now, that might buy him a little bit of time as well.
Ashley, what about you?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Mahmoud Diabate. He came up with two, I think, really key plays on defense. He's, of course, the one that gets the safety, which is the second safety for this defense in as many weeks. He forces a big fumble. And I know, like, with the linebacker position, it's one that comes up a lot for fans and people question the depth and everything like that. I wonder if he always kind of seems in these preseason games to, like, have one play where you're like, oh, like he jumps out. At least for one moment. And I do wonder if it's going to be enough at the end for him to kind of, force their hand into putting him on the roster, or keeping him around in some capacity. But especially like the roster question to me is interesting with, Jacob Phillips now not being available for this year after tearing his pec.
And I will go with Dorian Thompson-Robinson. You guys left me a big one there. I was watching this game and I thought to myself, if you gave Nick Sirianni some truth serum and said, would you rather have Marcus Mariota or Dorian Thompson-Robinson as your backup quarterback? What would his answer be? Could be DTR. Do the Browns need to ask themselves that same question at some point over the next couple weeks? I don't think they're going to go that far, but Dorian Thompson-Robinson looked really good making this start against the Eagles. A few throws that were maybe could have been placed a little better, some nitpicking here and there, but he looked really sharp in that first half and made some nice throws. And were it not for a John Kelly fumble on the first drive, was headed for a touchdown drive on that opening series for the Browns. So I'll go with DTR. Okay, full coverage of this tie in Philadelphia, game 3 of the preseason. You can find it all at cleveland.com/Browns.